my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips. You see what my hat says? Not finals, not Eastern Conference, not nice try, or see you next year. Champions. Let's go. Talk.
That's who did I steal from? Price tags on making the world feel some. They don't have enough to satisfy a real one.
Logical Raptors Fanatic.
Shoot trying to miss. Like every shot.
Logical Raptors Fanatic.
Try to make it, so I was gonna act surprised.
Logical Raptors Fanatic.
Love the game of basketball. I mean, it's just more question you have to ask me in order for me to tell you about.
Logical Raptors Fanatic.
I just can't give you a whole spiel. I don't even know where you're sitting at.
Salute, real ones. Project Truth always. Mike G back here with Logical Raptors Fanatic, and we're continuing our end of season series of the 2022-2023 season, and we're continuing today with Chris Boucher, and we're gonna start off with a lot of team stuff because he has great insight and he reveals a little bit more about the inner workings of what happened with Nick leaving and how the team felt. And then after, we're gonna go into his role and whatnot, right? And we're gonna go into his stuff. So first, we're gonna dive into the team stuff first. So take a listen on how he felt the season went.
One word from you to describe the Raptors season.
Weird. I'd say yeah, definitely weird. Definitely I mean, it's still weird now, so there's a change going on right now for sure, and let's see where it brings us.
Can you expand on weird, please? How so? Can you break this down for us?
I'm in the expectation. I feel like the work that we put in, how we felt like we could have got somewhere. The feeling sometimes, and and just like as the team, just up to the ups to down, trying to figure out ways to make to the playoff and win games, and not getting too concerned about how the media were going. I feel like that was definitely a weird season. We had that last year, but not as big. We definitely came back strong, but I think this year we never really got over the hump, and it made it definitely weird this year.
Interesting from Chris Boucher. He said had one word for the season, and it was weird. And I think that comes in part. He's going to go into it a little bit more with role definition and what the guys were feeling. But I think just all around in general, with how many things were going on and everyone really wanted to try to figure out how to win to get to the playoff. It just wasn't working, right? So I think the effort was there, but I think the different tactics weren't, right? So I think obviously Nick and the whole coaching staff were let go, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more next. But I think it's key to key in on the depth of what he was talking about in that first clip.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't feel like it was like last year. I mean, we dealt with a lot of injuries. We obviously, guys are coming in. Yako came at the end of the day. That was a change, but I feel like if you look at the season, we started a little bit rough. Pascal got hurt. Then after that, Precious was hurt. So, you see a lot of change. We different guys playing. Christian played. Obviously, I think he did a really good job this year. But it's like I said, it's a lot of change, a lot of different schemes, different minutes, a lot of different things changing. You just got to adjust to it, and I feel like when we finally started finding a groove, at the end, after All-Star, it was a little too late.
Do you think that's what was lacking, that some continuity this year?
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, as a basketball player, you always feel better. You'll play better when you kind of know what's going on in every game, and when you come into a setup, for example, if you know that you're gonna be a starter, your shot selection and all that are always the same. And if you come to the game like that for 82 games, obviously you could build a lot of consistency and all. But it's the NBA. Obviously, every team deal with it. Every team has guys coming off the bench. I got to figure out ways to impact the game, and we all know that we ain't going to have all 20, 15 shots, or we're not, a lot of different things are asked for guys off the bench, be a rebounder, or, a defensive player and all that, and that's what you got to focus on. And it's ups and downs, and you just got to figure it out. And that's what makes good bench players, is guys that are able to adapt to that.
So there, Chris goes over some of the issues he saw and the mitigating factors, which we've gone over before, right? But those were the effects in the second part, where he starts talking about how certain players need things set. They need to know what they're gonna be expected from them and how their role is gonna be. And I think role definition was clearly lacking, and we're gonna get into it more with the Masai and finale one. So to continue on, I think Chris understands what the younger guys kind of need a bit, and he has a really great mind on the bench role and what it takes to be a bench player in the NBA. And he goes into a lot of different stuff about his energy and stuff we've talked about before. So I want to keep this more fresh, and there are issues that he went over that we've talked about in other parts of this series. So I think we're going to move on to the next clip I got here.
Your coaches, after all these interviews and stuff are already done, do you speak to each other on how things could have been different, what kind of changes you can make? Or is that something that happens when you guys all get to LA and you get in those Rico Hines runs?
I mean, I definitely talk to some guys, OG, definitely one of the guys I talk a lot. Precious, those are my main guys on the team for sure. Christian definitely keeps him around because, I feel like he's really talented too, Delano. But, Jeff, I mean, I talk to a lot of guys, but I would say one thing for sure that the conversation when they were made is, how can we get better? That's really what we're thinking about just as a group, collectively. And, I mean, now we don't know what's going to happen next, but we definitely, could talk about what we see ourselves and learn from the team like Boston's and those teams that are playing right now.
So there was really great, interesting insight into what the players like to talk about with each other. They talk about how they're going to get better and win games and help each other become better and how they can be better together. And the group is still pretty solid, even though the coaching staff had quite a few issues. And I guess now we can go into what his comments about Nick, right?
Now, Nick Nurse, obviously, we all know, has been relieved of his duties. What was your first thought when you heard about that? And did you kind of expect that, or it kind of came out of left field for you?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like when the conversation came about, change of identity and all, I don't know. I felt like if something was going to happen, it's probably going to be go different ways. I thought maybe they would try to break it down and break everything up. But, I mean, to be honest with you, if I see how the team was going and all that, and, maybe the comments that he said before, if I was really concerned about that and really focused on media, I would say yes, but I didn't see it coming. I feel like after my exit meeting I had with him and all, we were talking about how I could get better next year and whatever. I didn't see that coming.
Think it was needed?
I mean, I think there's a lot of things that needs to be needed on this team, but I think if he wants to start somewhere and start fresh, whatever, bringing a new coach definitely going to do something. I think it's definitely going to bring competitiveness, and guys going to try to go at it and practice and show what they're capable of doing. I think that's probably something that we need, just more hard work, more willing, more wanting. I think that's something Toronto always did, and I think that's definitely going to bring it back. Definitely, probably, like I said, probably going to be a new coaching staff and all that. So I think things will change. And when they said we need to bring back the culture and all that, maybe that's what we need for.
So there, Chris actually gives his actual perception of Nick and whether he was leaving or not. He felt in the exit interviews that Nick was fine or whatever, and they were going to look at breaking up the team. But I think obviously clearly Masai in his analysis of the season and looking back at everything and talking with everyone, felt the coaching staff's mess of not being on the same page and getting the players in turn on the same page really kind of bled out onto the court. And I think that's where Chris was saying before, that they need more structured roles, and that's something that one of the really key main points of changing the coach. And you heard the benefits of just even changing a coach in general from a player that understands these type of things, right?
Did you ever get a vibe from him like maybe it was time to part ways now?
Like I said, after like, 1 week after when we lost, and like I go back and I obviously see the comments that he said and all that, I definitely felt like he probably needed it too, the way he was saying it. He was saying that it's been 10 years and he feels like he needs to think about it and all that. I mean, I think they both know that comment probably will, definitely open some eyes. And it's like saying, like, you know what, man, maybe I need to move. And then, your landlord said, you need to move. At the end of the day, like, if you were thinking about it, then it's going to happen. And that's what happened to him.
So there, Chris was talking about the press conference and all that kind of stuff, and maybe Nick was signaling something and he got what he wanted. There's a lot of mystery around it still, but we're going to move on to the parts where we're looking forward and what changes that need to be made, because he mentioned Masai's interview and Fred VanVleet's interview, so we're going to get into that now.
Now, a few people, Masai, Fred VanVleet talked about it as well. They talked about the culture a little bit, right? Yeah. You want to change that culture, try to get it back to, I guess, maybe what it was a few years before. What do you think about the culture of the team right now, and how did it change this year compared to recent years past?
I mean, I think when they say change, it's just bringing back what it was before. If you look at Toronto basketball and the guys that were here and all that, like, guys used to, like, I feel like they work extremely hard, and like, even if like you didn't have the best talent in the league, like, you would definitely find a way to be one of the best teams, and collectively you would be the best. You'd make players look amazing. But I think that we lost that a little bit just by, like Masai said, man, a little bit of selfishness for sure. I think that we definitely got caught up into whatever the media was saying. Obviously after the first year that we had, we all felt good, thinking that next year we were gonna do something, and we didn't. And I think we needed that reality check to realize that we need to get better, not just as a team, but eventually. I think everybody needs to work on their game, like me, everybody off the bench, just so we could do something off of it too. But I think the one thing that definitely changed everything on this team is the way that we went out every game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we used to be the underdog and go there and try to get it, and no matter how, or no matter who was in front of us, not be afraid and just go over there and get a win. And then, now we were giving up 20-point games, started getting beat down 20, giving 20-point quarters or stuff like that. Like, that's just not who we was. That's never who we were, and I think we lost that, that competitiveness. I don't want to say with Kyle, but Kyle definitely had something. He definitely brought some juice to that too. I think when Kyle was on the floor, he definitely kind of helped us a little bit. Fred still got that. I feel like Fred, obviously, like, you could see, like, he's in it and he, like, wants to win. But I think Kyle was doing that at a level where I don't even know if I'm able to see somebody else doing it besides Kawhi. Kawhi was another one that I see when he wanted to play, he was going crazy. Like, when Kawhi was telling everybody, like, okay, let's go to work, I feel like it was uplifting the whole team.
So really interesting, deep comments from Chris Boucher. And I think there's just a lot to unpackage here a little bit. Like, going back to Raptors style basketball, where everyone was really hungry and felt like they needed to prove something. And that whole not satisfied opinion of earlier, and from Pascal, there wasn't enough players not feeling not satisfied. After last year and achieving what we did. And I think this year was a pretty much a really vivid wake-up call for every player to really wake up and see the opportunity they have and start really pushing their development and putting in the hard work and getting back to that. Like, he's mentioning there's just some interesting things on court where he talks about Fred VanVleet and how he's mimicking what kind of Lowry did, but not to the same level. And I did go into that in my PG deep dive where I compared what Lowry was to FEV, and clearly Chris is echoing one of those thoughts that just like Lowry's just a little bit different, able to achieve more. But Fred still has that element to his game and can do it somewhat, right? So I think there is still foundation for him to still continue. But we'll talk about Fred next time. We're going to continue on.
I mean, like I said, I'm always trying to get better. Obviously, I have a good team around me that, make me watch film and try to get better every game and see what we could do better. But, I mean, at the end of the day, whatever the team asks me to do is really what I could do. I focus on the little things, obviously, and try to get better, personally and as a person, as a teammate, as a, shot maker, playmaker, whatever, needed. I think that was, the plan of this year, through the ups and downs and, the change of the team, having Yako coming in and guys leaving and coming in. You're always trying to get better and figure out what you could do and how you could explain your role and not get too hype over, one good game or whatever.
So now to come back to how the season actually went and Chris Boucher's role in this. So we're going to focus back in on Chris for now, right? And I think his role in things has changed a little bit. And he's going to go in to expand it a little bit more. But ultimately, I think his role is definitely as a mentor and a guy off the bench that can be a lot of different things. But as he said before, there's going to be a lot of changes coming and we don't know exactly how that's going to be. But I think watching film and stuff like that is really key for Boucher and everyone, no matter what coach comes in. So I think these skills are still like applicable no matter who comes in as coach, right? So we're going to continue on, but let's hear what Chris does right after the season.
Relaxing and, reflect on the things that I feel like we could have done this year.
Do you take any time for yourself or do you kind of just hit the gym right away?
No. I've been, I definitely took a week off to just relax and, just watch games and, definitely reflect, but I'm definitely going to eventually get back to, put in a little bit of work before definitely putting a lot of work this summer. But, we're just still figuring out what I want to do and take some time off somewhere.
What about your game do you want to improve the most? And this is we're going to move on to some other NBA stuff. But before we do, I want to know, do you want to improve your shooting, ball handling? Break it down.
I mean, I think one thing I got to be able to do is more. If I could become a 3-and-D guy, that would be amazing. Like, if I could guard any position and shoot the ball at consistent pace, which I feel like I was getting better through the year, and I definitely finished better the season, but I feel like it's something that I could definitely do. At the end of the year, I feel like we were really focusing on that, and like I was definitely getting to a point where I was being able to keep the guy in front of me, which was something that I didn't focus much before, because obviously I was like, okay, I got so much stuff to learn. Like, I got to learn how to do a better closeout. I got to be able to, vertical, be able to learn how to take charge and all that. So I was like, okay, I'm learning all this, but I feel like now that, obviously through the years that you're getting better, you start locking on the little details, the little different things that you could get better at, and that's something I feel like I can help the team with. Because I feel like I definitely got instincts sometimes that I feel like, okay, I could go, but I just don't, because like I don't trust it. And that's the same as if I could put the shot blocking instincts, if I could do it the same way as in defensive and steals and all that. I think I could definitely get better at that.
Oh, absolutely great breakdown of Chris's game and what he feels he can be, and a lot of different things of how it's been. And he's really keyed in on the point that I was saying before, where mature players don't really develop too much more, but they find adjustments and fine tweak the inner workings of different skills that they haven't really had time to at first, because he's learning how to close out properly, he's learning how to do all these other things, and now that he's kind of got those under his belt and feels comfortable with certain things, now it's kind of working through different things and having the courage to kind of put it on the line sometimes and see how things go. But obviously that has to be okayed by a coach and a system and a lot of different things. But Chris is going to focus this off season on a little bit more of his maybe skill development and tweaking his shot, because he felt he had a great rhythm. So he's going to focus on that going in the summer and put a lot more work into that, and maybe be more of a 3-and-D so he can fit a certain type of role on this team. And I think that would benefit him in the long run. And this whole hustle play episode goes on really long and he talks about a lot of great things, but I want to key in on obviously future growth and what happened this season. Keeping, so I just want to thank and salute the real ones for the likes, the comments, the subs, the feedback that really helped shape things, obviously. And I just want to throw out a quick salute to our 10-year man, Masai Ujiri. We're gonna get to that video soon in the future, don't worry. And a final salute for Raptors Freak Lex, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Always talking that great stuff, and you can find out about different creators and different things there, which he has a lot more time to do there. So I'm gonna end it off there. Salute the real ones. Project Truth always. Logical Raptors. Fanatic out. Mike G. Mike G.
Oh man, I love my team, man, I love my team. I would die for them.
Not just cause I want you, cause I got to. Put the squad on your back, did the impossible. It's only logical, it's fitted from the heart.
Problems hit the gym, they all work.